No, the title is not clickbait. At the ripe age of 28, I just went to my first ever music festival. Look, it's not like I haven't ever wanted to go to events like this. I'll be honest with you, prior to this year, prior to doing social media, I was always one to just do whatever those around me did. Even if I had separate interests, I always just kind of wanted to blend into a certain extent, but social media has kind of brought me out of my shell and allowed me to actually pursue the things that I'm interested in. So while, granted, Gov Ball was not on my list of events to attend this year, I got lucky with a sponsor that I'll talk about upcoming. Electric Zoo was already like on the plans for me to go this year. I knew I was 100% committing and I wanted to do that no matter what. Gov Ball just happened to fall into my lap, so why not? Now, did I try to vlog it? Yeah. Did that work out so well? No. Instead, let's have a story time about my first time at Gov Ball and talking about the entire festival as a whole, because I've been following the stuff on social media and kind of had an expectation of what I should see going into it versus what reality would be, some tips and tricks and strategies and stuff. Let's get into it. So I'm recording this on Saturday morning after having only gone to Friday. So around 2 months ago, I got an email from Verizon that they are starting some new creator program where basically they'll just have a list of content creators that they have different things that they can help people get to, different events to go to in New York City, and I joined the program. Now, would a music festival directly line up with gaming? Not necessarily, no, but as people who have followed my content for a bit now, especially on TikTok know, I can go to any event and find a way to relate it into League of Legends or gaming in some capacity, and luckily Lil Nas X is one of the performers on Sunday, so it made it very easy to go around and ask people questions. I know it can be a little bit cringy at times with the little mic to ask people, but hey, if you got to do content, you got to do content. And I feel like I'm always very respectful whenever I go out to people, ask them questions, try and have a good time, joke around with them, and just make it as, you know, comfortable for people as possible while still talking on mic, because some people do enjoy it, as you'll see in some of the interactions that I'll link. But Verizon gave us a ticket for Friday and Friday only. I'm still trying to see if there's any way I can talk my way into a ticket on Sunday. This video will be coming out on Monday, so if there's a clip of Kendrick Lamar here, then you'll know. Otherwise, no, I only went on the Friday.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Hey, I'm blessed to have gone at all. Like, again, this wasn't expected for me to show up to this festival in any way, but you know what? I was happy to go. Speaking of going, transportation to this event, very easy. It being in Flushing Meadow Park was actually kind of nice. For those that don't know New York City, Flushing Meadow is basically right out by where the New York Mets play and Citi Field, which from Manhattan is just the 7 train straight out. But you can also take the LIR and go out there as well. It's very accessible for the most part. It's like an hour away if you're taking the 7 local train. The LIR, I have no clue. I've never paid the extra money for that. Why? When you could just pay $3 and take the regular subway. But the best part is, on the way back, they have a 7 express train, which just goes from Met Stadium or like Citibank or Citi Field to 3 stops in Queens, and then you're in Manhattan already. It's like a 20-minute train. That's it. It goes by so quick, and you're back in the city in no time after a long day of standing up. It's phenomenal. If you live anywhere in Manhattan, it's easily like the best way of doing it. Obviously, I live in Hell's Kitchen, so it's a very easy walk to the 7 train. So I understand my commute's going to be a lot easier than most. But like, if you're a New York resident, that's kind of nice. Now, I heard they previously held it in Central Park. That obviously is going to be better in terms of like accessibility for everybody, because Manhattan's just this focal point that everywhere comes into. It's not always easy to get out to Queens and other areas. But I teach golf at Flushing Meadow, as I mentioned in the one vlog clip that I tried. For those of you that don't know, I actually teach golf in New York City on Sundays for the City Parks group, and the course I teach at is actually right there. So it's weird to be walking to a festival, but be walking right by where I'm at every Sunday. And I'm just used to that commute, so it felt like nothing, to be completely honest with you. It does make me wonder, though, if you're traveling from outside of New York City, how it was getting in here, because I'm not sure where you park there, nor like what ride sharing was like. So Verizon actually provided us with a $100 Uber gift card to be able to get to and from if we needed to. And I just looked at that and was like, no, I'll save this for a later point in time. I'm going to take the subway because there's no point. But hey, thanks Verizon for the gift card. It'll come in handy at some other point whenever I travel, just not right now. Now, if you've never been to a festival before, you're probably not familiar with the wristband situation that happens. I got my wristband literally yesterday morning in the mail. It came at like the last minute. But you put on this wristband, you activate it via the GovBall app, and you can link a credit card to it, which allows you to just tap your wristband at everything. This is something that I was familiar with because the Brooklyn Mirage, which is like one of the popular DJ spots here in New York City and like one of the biggest venues we got here, uses that, and I must say it is really nice when it works. I've heard people, when talking about Electric Zoo, say that the system will sometimes go down and it can be a problem, which sure, I mean, I still have my wallet on me and credit card on me just in case something happened, and like had it all in, I don't even have it here, it's over there, like a see-through bag. So I mean, nothing really could have gone wrong anyways, but that is a very nice system to have. Although the fear of possibly losing that wristband beforehand is definitely a little bit terrifying. I'm happy that I only got it the morning of and didn't have to stress about anything else. But yeah, you show up to the festival, you don't have to go to will call. As long as you have that wristband, you just walk up, go through what's a decently tight security check, and scan your wristband, and you're in the festival. And it's simple as that. And immediately you're just presented with everything that is like the festival govball stuff. Like the stuff that you see on social media is like really true. There are booths for everything. Obviously, like there's a whole food station. I'll get into the food later because I had a little bit of it, obviously. But in order to make these festivals possible, you need sponsors that help cover the cost. So for example, I was there with Verizon, and no, this isn't a required post from them. They're not requiring us or asking us to do this. I just wanted to talk about it, and I do have to disclose that I was brought there by them, and they were the presenting sponsor of GovBall. So we had like this neat little deck area that oversaw the main stage that anybody could go into. It wasn't like exclusive for content creators, but it was like really cool to be like, oh yeah, we were here with Verizon. But then you had other sponsors like Dunkin' Donuts was there giving out or selling stuff, but also giving away some stuff for free. There was some wine orchard thing that they were selling their product there as well. Google was there. M&M's were there. I mean, there were just a ton of Haagen-Dazs, for those that love ice cream, was there. Like, there's just a ton of different booths that in between acts you can definitely go around to. But I would highly recommend, if you ever go to one of these festivals, try and get there as early as possible to be able to check all that stuff out, especially on the days where people still have school. So like, for example, school's still in session for most high schoolers. Right now they haven't graduated yet. College kids are done, but you could tell there was a wave after 4 o'clock when schools let out. You could just tell. But I got there around 1, or 2 o'clock, which is even later than when the doors opened. And I had some content obligations that I wanted to make sure I got done, even though the brand wasn't asking. I just wanted to film some stuff for them. But the lines get very long for those like sponsor tents very, very quickly, especially as the crowd goes on. But also, you don't want to cut into the time of actually seeing the musical acts unless you have some down periods where there's nobody that you really want to see. But even then, you should probably check out new artists. I was just there for one day and had like a very set plan of what I wanted to do. Let's take a quick sidetrack though to festival attire. I did not go fully all out for this day. Again, I found out fairly last minute. I've been busy with a lot of stuff. So I just threw on like a decent Hawaiian shirt that I knew was probably going to be unbuttoned the entire time anyway. So really no point in like overdoing anything there. And just basic shorts. And immediately, upon getting in the subway on the 7 train, like the second we got to the Queensboro Plaza, this group of 3 people came in, 2 girls and the guy. And the guy's wearing like 6-inch pink cowboy boots, like cropped shorts, a crop top, and then like this see-through like short sleeve but also like down to your foot long like wrap thing. And I'm just sitting here like, damn it, I'm underdressed. Now granted, there were a lot of people like basketball shirts and just like t-shirts and stuff like that, but like higher end festival attire, like the people that actually like try for their outfits and like go for a look, go for a theme within their group and a style, like I appreciate that. I really do. Like festival attire and the glitz and glam that can come with that on like the higher ends of it. Like I need to hit the gym more, and I really wish my sense of fashion was just better than it is right now. But every time I say that I'm gonna start like dressing better and have a better like sense of style around it, I don't get that far. Like I just need to get to the point where I make enough money that I can pay somebody to dress, like design like outfits and like styles for me. Like that would be great. Like I love, by no means like my outfit wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. Now I'm gonna step up my game for Izu, to be clear. I've got plans, but yeah, I felt bad. But kudos to anyone that dresses up for festivals like this. You have my respect, and I absolutely love that you go all out. So, the lineups for Govball. Day 1, the only day that I'm going to, there were really 2 acts that like, well, technically 3 acts that I wanted to make sure I saw over literally everything else. First was Diplo. Anything EDM, I'm going to be there. I love that. Like, I love live sets compared to like concerts and stuff like that. Like the Chainsmokers, seeing them at Easy is going to be great because there is a big difference between them. So I was really excited to see Diplo perform. Metro Boomin was my second. He does a lot of tracks for The Weeknd, for Migos, 21 Savage involved on Tolliver. His latest album of Heroes vs. Villains was incredible. Like, I was really excited to see that, even though I knew it wasn't going to be like, it was basically just going to be him spinning tracks the entire time and us listening to his catalog, but that is like perfectly fine. You get that with the right crowd, it is just good. And then the final one was Ice Spice, and I'll get into that separately, but you had to plan it out because there's 3 different stages. You had the Verizon stage, the Bacardi stage, and then the GoPuff stage, and pretty much the GoPuff and Verizon stage were the 2 big ones because they kept them. You would have ongoing acts at the same times, but they were far enough away to the point where you didn't hear each other, which was really good. So the plan was get all my content done, then go see Diplo, grab food, Ice Spice, Metro, and then for the finale, it was either Lizzo or Lil Uzi Vert, and the people that I was with at Verizon wanted to go see Lizzo, and I was like, you know what, by that point, I probably won't care all that much. That should be fine, but I'll get into why I changed to Lil Uzi Vert in a bit. But starting with Diplo, and I'm going to give each artist its time to like react to their set, the crowd, and everything else. I'll be honest, I wasn't that impressed with like his actual set itself. The music, I've seen him do better, which is I guess why like my expectation was a little bit higher for him. Like when he performed at Stagecoach, for example, it just seemed like he played the perfect set for the crowd that was there. And I'm not sure if he got the right vibe from the crowd today. Like, it was definitely a younger audience. Like, at 28, I was one of the older people there, which age doesn't bother me whatsoever. I don't care if I'm the older one there. I'm still going to be in the pits having fun. Like, that's irrelevant to me. But it just seemed like there were a lot of times where, like, he wasn't playing stuff that would be a little bit more popular with a younger crowd. And you could tell there were still high highs in the set, and when he got to his more popular songs, it was still good. But for an hour-long set, it definitely felt like there were some misses. On top of that, the crowd was a little bit obnoxious. Now, this was probably the set that I was most looking forward to all day, so I tried to get closer up to the rail than prior sets. And there was just this group in front of me to the right that was like blitzed out of their mind at 4 o'clock on a Friday. And it's like, that's fine, you do you, but when it becomes a problem, and like, it wasn't even just like mosh pits during the set, like that's fine, but like they are just stumbling and falling on people and shifting the crowd to the point where it was bad. Like the pits were way more insane at later points in the set with Lil Uzi Vert and Metro, and that was still way more controlled than what was happening in the Diplo crowd. And it was like, it wasn't until like 30 minutes into the set when some people decided to leave because it was definitely too rough for people that were below like 5'6", because you couldn't see shit and you were just getting plowed the entire time, but without any sort of consistency or knowing what was going on. So once that left and it thinned out a bit, it wasn't as bad. You were able to keep your space, and it ended up being like a really good last 30 minutes. But overall, I give it probably like a 6 out of 10. If I'm being completely honest. Was just expecting more. The crowd didn't help it all that much, but overall, I mean, it's still an EDM set, so there's a bare minimum standard that I would say is there, and it was good. His set wrapped up right around 5:45, which meant I had about 30 minutes to grab food and go from there, so let's use this time to talk about the food. Oh my god, are there a lot of options at these festivals? Now, when I came into it, I was assuming that food was going to be incredibly expensive, so I ate prior to coming into the festival around 1 to make sure that like I could have like a very solid lunch, which shout out to Stickies, love them. 7-piece popper basket with fries just hit perfectly midday. So then whenever I go for dinner, I'm figuring, like, we're talking festival prices, like $30 for a cheeseburger, like pizza probably, I don't know, 20 bucks. Prices were pretty standard for like Midtown Manhattan level. Like a cheesesteak was like 16, slice of pizza was 9, but it was like a jumbo slice of pizza. Now I know you can obviously get cheaper options here in the city outside of that. Like that, I understand that. But like overall, it wasn't like this ridiculously high markup that I was expecting. I mean, shit. I grew up in Hershey, Pennsylvania. We go to Hershey Park all the time. Back in 2012, a Gatorade was $5. Which at that point, you could just walk to any store and get a Gatorade for $1. And it's like a 500% markup. Are you kidding me? I was expecting that. And that didn't happen. And I must say, I was very pleasantly surprised by that. Now, the thing that people told me about was to like bring in a bottle like for refillable water. And I was just like, I didn't know what to bring fully. I wasn't sure what to expect given that was my first time, and now I know. Now I have a bag and I can bring a bottle with me next time to like put in there and like refill, especially for like Izu. I might want to get a hydration pack. But having unlimited like fresh water refills for bottles is really nice. But even then, like Liquid Death was like $5, which wasn't extremely outrageous. I think I paid like $6 or $7 for that when I went to the Call of Duty Major last August. So overall, prices weren't that bad. I got one slice of pizza and it was decent. I'd say it was like a 6 out of 10. It wasn't anything phenomenal. I'm sure like there were halal guys was there. There was a bunch of stuff that like you could get like really good quality food if you wanted it. You would just pay a little bit more. I just wanted something cheap that would fill me up. So I paid $9 for the slice of pizza and that was about it. Now for the final 3 acts. This is going to be the interesting part. Ice Spice. So for background, I don't listen to a lot of Ice Spice. The first time that like I had actually heard of her was The Boy's a Liar Part 2. And just all of a sudden people started getting like really hyped about her. And then obviously she took over TikTok. So I started like seeing everything there and started I could just tell that like people were just absolutely standing over her. And I'm not the biggest fan of stan culture, if I'm being honest. I find it to be a little bit annoying. Maybe that's because of like sports background and like the MJ stan versus LeBron stan stuff just bugs the crap out of me. Music stan stuff, the K-pop culture of standing is interesting. It can be good at times, but also annoying at times. I recently heard Princess Diana, and I must say the beat hits hard, even if her rapping doesn't necessarily do as much for me. But coming into this, I was like, okay, I want to go see Ice Spice and see what the craze is about. And I very quickly realized going to see Ice Spice is not about Ice Spice herself. It is about people watching while you're at Ice Spice, because oh my god, were people hilarious. You had Ice Spice American flags, dudes with Munch written all over their chest, and it was just hysterical. They played into it. And it's like, I think about this because like if I was to have a kid and my 16-year-old son goes to a music festival with Munch written all over his chest, I know there are some parents that would sit here and be like, oh my, like they'd be embarrassed how like some kids would have to hide it from their parents. I would find that shit hysterical. That was funny as hell. Emily might not get it, and that'll be a conversation that we'll have to have as parents later on. But personally, I found it hilarious. That was like, the fans made that, because her set, in all honesty, she came on 10 minutes late and ended 5 minutes early, wasn't that good. And all she does is like rap over a backing track and spends like most of the time dancing and like twerking for the crowd and stuff, which fine. Hey, you know what? Your show, you do what you want. I didn't personally find that as entertaining as just watching the people go nuts around it when tracks came on. Like, dudes lost their minds when she came on with Princess Diana at first. And it was just like, I get it. I get why people buy into this. It's not because the music is decent by all means, but it's because of the fandom that just brings it to a whole other level. So I will give the performance a 8 out of 10 purely for the crowd. If I was just basing it on Ice Spice, 4 or 5 out of 10 at best, personally. Just was what it was. After the letdown that was Diplo's set to a certain extent, Metro was the next one that I was like really looking forward to, and it delivered. I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you. It was good. His catalog is incredible. It was a great set, and notably, it started raining halfway through, and I love being in a crowd that is just a pure vibe. There were some people that started running away, but not many. Most people were just like, who cares if it's raining? We're going hard and just turning the hell up to everything that comes on. And it was incredible. I forget what song dropped when it was raining. It wasn't Heartless. It might have been Low Life. I'm not 100% certain, but it just like the bass hit and it's like pouring down raining and people are going nuts and like people are whipping their heads, like water is flinging off of people's hair, and it's just like, it was a vibe. It was such a good vibe and just an incredible experience all around. That just like, he's got an insane catalog. He doesn't have to do much. He just goes up and plays all of his tracks, and the crowd carries the weight of it. 9 out of 10 set, easy. Would highly recommend seeing Metro anytime you get the chance to. It's a vibe. It's a great time no matter what, especially if you like trap. If you love trap music, then you're just gonna have a phenomenal time.
Well, as you can probably see, it rained during Metro, so now everybody's in line for Lil Uzi Vert to go on soon. We'll see how it goes.
So going into the headliners of the night with Lizzo and Lil Uzi Vert, again, the crew that I was supposed to meet was going to go see Lizzo. I was actually planning to go meet them, but then decided at the last minute, you know what? I'm already here. I'm towards the front of Lil Uzi Vert. Just want to rock with the crowd that I was seeing there because it's a younger crowd, and knowing how hyped they get for that song. I made the decision in the moment that I had to stay for Lil Uzi Vert. And I'm very glad that I did. I've seen clips of Lizzo like post event, and by all means, she sounded great. It looked like her set was a lot of fun, but the crowd for Lil Uzi Vert was just amazing. Like, there was less standing that you saw with Ice Spice, but just like people really excited to hear his songs. And I don't know his full catalog of music. Like, there are people singing every song. I knew about half, give or take. And it was just, it's the first time that I've ever done a true mosh pit. Like, I've been to concerts in stadiums where obviously you have like assigned seats, but given that this is my first festival and like first time like actually going to something where mosh pitting was like a legitimate thing. The first time that somebody comes in and like separates the crowd, and mind you, like, this is some like 17-year-old kid that's like running the pit that's just hyped and blitzed out of his mind, just like separating people, and then everybody just comes crashing in. It was just unbelievable. It's absolutely like, and everybody was looking out for each other as well. If somebody like was a little bit too rowdy, like everybody kind of like stopped and like looked around, made sure they were good. Notably, at one point during the set itself, and I'll put the clip here, Lil Uzi Vert actually had to stop because somebody fell down.
Let them up. Let them up right there. Bro, stop fucking trying to get me to talk to you and let them the fuck up behind you. Fuck you keep talking to me for? Yo, get bro up off the ground, bro. Yo, get him off the ground, bro. What the fuck, bro? Stop trying to record me and get him off the ground. What the fuck? I got him. Is everybody up? Alright, start over.
After the issues that happened at Astroworld a few years ago, and just a lot of people talking about how crowds post-COVID don't know how to be respectful, and like a lot of issues that come with it, it was a really nice moment. Like, obviously the people that he was yelling at the front that weren't listening when trying to get the person up, they're idiots. But like, everybody in the areas that I was at, whenever it stopped, like you passed the word along as like, hey, somebody fell down. Like, just everybody was checking to make sure everybody was good. Like, it was very respectful. It was a blast. And then we resumed afterwards, and it just went nuts. I Wanna Rock got played twice because the first time was just so unbelievably good. I knew he had to run it again. There was no way that he could not do that twice, given like the excitement level that the crowd still had at the end of the first time of running it through, and the second time just hit even better. It's just like the euphoria and high was there. It makes you wonder, like, back in like the Kanye Jay-Z days when they played the song in Paris like 13 times straight. Like, I can't imagine what vibes must have been like for an event like that. Because just for this, it was just unbeatable. Easy, Lil Uzi Vert, 10 out of 10 set. You're not going to watch him like sit there and perform his songs like in terms of like vocal performance. That's not what you're going to that event for. You're going to that event to just get lost in the mosh pits and rage out of your mind to good music with him adding some ad libs in between. And that's perfectly fine. You know exactly what you're getting, and I loved every single little bit of that. I realized in talking about this all and now going through all the sets, I didn't really see anybody that like actually sang or performed for the most part. I will say, like, the Haim, the three sisters, I think they were there. I heard Kim Petras was pretty good in terms of like actually singing. Lizzo obviously is very talented in and of herself. And then who was the other person? There was one other person, I'm not remembering that, but they're like actually like very talented singers that you're going to like actually watch them perform their songs. And there is that there at GovBall, and I'm sure at other festivals as well. You can just choose to go to that, and I didn't. I wanted to go to the spots where the crowd was the most high because I enjoy being with the crowd, with other people, doing other things like that. And it just overall was a blast. Would 10 out of 10 recommend. Even like if there's an artist that you want to go see, then obviously go do it. But even if you just want to vibe with the crowd, like, absolutely go. Big thank you to Verizon for having me out there and for semi-sponsoring this video. And then all this did was just make me more excited for Izu this September. Like, I cannot wait for that festival. This was great, and I'm glad I'm pushing myself not out of my comfort zone, because these are things that like I've wanted to do. I've just never had the guts to actually pull the trigger on it. And if social media is the means that actually gets me to do that, then great. I'm all for it, and I need to keep doing this more because it's hard to believe the experiences over the last 2 years specifically that I've been starting to have as I continue to push myself more. It's great. I love it. I hope you all enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed story time about GovBall, my first music festival. Maybe I'll do this again for Izu later in the year. Let me know. I know it's not gaming related, but you know what? This channel is about more than just games. It's about my life and things that I enjoy. So, yeah, that's about it. Adios. Catch you on the next one.